James is camping. I went to bring him food. As a result, his classmates mistakenly thought I was his mother. He splashed the steaming fish soup all over me. Also accuses me of not knowing my own identity. My mom has only one Victoria. Don't dare to cross the line again in the future. You are not even qualified to be the nanny of the Anderson family. I saw the disdain reflected in his eyes. Just like his father, Alexander, I didn't apologize for the first time. I don't want to explain it either. I could only lower my head and smile bitterly. Speak, you don't need to ask me. I need to pack up my things, make room for you. The steaming fish soup splashed onto my face. I instinctively raised my hand to block, but still got soaked for the most part after cooking the fish soup. I worry that he will be hungry, also afraid the meal will get cold. So I carefully packed the fish soup into several thermos bags. However, the effort I put in all morning ended up all over me. The back of the hand and the neck felt hot and stingy. Even if it hurts, it is not comparable to the hardships of giving birth and the despair I feel now. A few sounds of laughter came from the surroundings. Everyone knows that I look very awkward right now. Ethan did not know the reason. The face turned bright red. It may be due to shame or anger. My mom is a big star. Victoria, how can you treat a worthless person as my mother? Several classmates saw him get angry. Then they stopped talking. I suppressed the urge to show any signs of abnormality. Removed the fish, meat, and vegetables stuck to the hair, then stood up. Victoria has something urgent to attend to today. Let me take her place. Ethan turned his head. She was stunned when she saw the swollen blisters on my neck. However, his expression was quickly replaced by annoyance. Don't think I don't know your little tricks. Does the Anderson family have no other servants? My mother has only Victoria. If you dare to cross the line again in the future, you don't even qualify to be a nanny in the Anderson family. I saw the exact same expression of disgust on his face as Alexander has now. In the past 10 years, the last bit of our mother-son relationship has also come to an end. I didn't apologize for the first time. He did not defend himself either, just quietly lowered his head and gave a wry smile. You don't have to tolerate it any longer. I will pack my things now. Make some space for your family. Done speaking, I turned around and walked away. Ethan is not willing to back down either. He snorted coldly, then left. But after returning home, I just realized that everything in my room had been thrown out. I saw myself dazed in the living room. The servants around began to whisper. The butler arrived a little late, gently conveyed Ethan's meaning. Olivia, starting today, please move to the nanny's room to live. I followed the butler's gaze and looked. I found that my room is just under the stairs on the first floor. The place is dark and damp. It's hard for me to even stand up straight, let alone living there. The Anderson family is not short on money. It is impossible to use the storage room as a maid's room, it seems. This is a challenge that Ethan deliberately set for me. Ethan has been increasingly dissatisfied with me. It truly made me see the reality. In the past decade, I appreciate his hard work. It turns out that it pales in comparison to the mere 10 days after Victoria's return. A few servants nearby covered their mouths and snickered. It has become quite blatant now. They each wanted to see the grievance and pain on my face, or expect me to fly into a rage. I didn't say anything, just quietly pick up your own belongings, walking towards the nanny's room. Anyway, I will be leaving here soon. Alexander didn't return until late at night. He is sitting on the sofa, pinching his forehead. It sounds exhausting. I heard about what happened today. Olivia, Ethan's classmates may not be as well off as the Anderson family, but he can also be considered a child from a wealthy family. You dressed like this in the past. Is it intentional to make things difficult for him? In the future, when encountering such situations, it's better not to force it. Leave it to Victoria. However, I am dressed very appropriately today. It's not a nanny outfit. Victoria also despised Ethan for asking him to deliver meals, but in the end, I still didn't say anything. Because of the hearts of the father and son, he has long favored his fiancée and his biological mother, even if I do my best. In their eyes, my existence is a mistake. I kept my head down, tightly pursed lips. Alexander said again, I went back to the old house today. Grandpa chose a date. The wedding will be held in 3 days. I was stunned. Ask right away. What? Alexander never repeats himself. I understood the answer from the expression on his face. A surge of anger arose in my heart. I can no longer remain calm. A nail pokes into the palm. Alexander continued speaking. The recent rumors have affected Victoria's new film. She does not plan to make it public for the time being. Just because of this, he wants to put on a grand event and organize a wedding with me. Do you want those rumors to fall apart on their own? But a year ago, before my mother passed away, I just hoped to see that I can happily get married. Alexander had time to spend a month with Victoria in San Francisco, yet they are unwilling to spare even half a day's time to accompany me to this fake wedding. I knelt at my doorstep for 3 whole days and nights. Until Mom passed away, he did not change his attitude at all. I have mixed feelings. I couldn't help but laugh amidst my tears. Tears streamed down uncontrollably. Alexander is angry. Olivia, don't forget your identity. You are nothing more than a tool of the Anderson family, not qualified to express an opinion. He stood up. She angrily prepared to go upstairs. I called out to him, Alexander, you are right. Alexander stopped in his tracks, relaxed a bit. What else do you want? I said coldly. I am just a sinner, but it's been 10 years. My sins should have been redeemed long ago. Alexander couldn't help but frown. Look at me with an expression that says, what do you want to do? Olivia, over the years, the Anderson family has treated you well. What else do you want? After he finished speaking, I saw the nanny outfit I was wearing, stopped for a moment, but soon, he returned to that aloof demeanor. I lowered my head, gave a bitter smile. These treatments, for someone like me, it's actually pretty good. 10 years ago, my dad ran into Victoria with the car, her legs were injured. No more dancing. Meanwhile, she has also lost the ability to conceive. Dad passed away after unsuccessful rescue efforts following the car accident. Mom's condition relapsed due to being emotionally affected, confined to bed. The huge compensation has made our already fractured family even more difficult. I had no choice. One can only repay these debts with their own body and youth. I gave birth to Alexander and Victoria's child. Living in the Anderson family was like being a servant. A life, a broken family, and my humbled days over the past 10 years, and a hopeless future I owe them. It should have been repaid long ago, seeing that I hadn't spoken for a long time. Alexander said somewhat impatiently, this is just a procedure. The main purpose is to silence outsiders, although you are not the nominal Mrs. Anderson of the family. But in the future, the Anderson family will regard you as the lady of the Anderson family. After Victoria returns with the Best Actress award, I will arrange another place for you. In summary, I will treat you well. His attitude made me feel very uncomfortable. Thank you for your kindness, but I really don't need it right now. I just want to leave. What else do you want to do after leaving the Anderson family? Alexander scoffed at my ideas. You have no academic qualifications. There is no experience either. Don't end up being unable to find a job then. Instead, they blame us, the Anderson family. He waved his hand impatiently. It seems that they do not want to continue this topic any further. Olivia, you are almost 30, stop dreaming. Stay with the Anderson family, at least one can still live well. Alexander did not go upstairs to his room. Instead, she turned and walked towards the front door. I watched his back, silently lowered his head. Yes, I am 29 years old. I have spent the most wonderful 10 years of my life making amends for my mistakes. One can't spend the second half of their life feeling so restricted. Moreover, the affluent life he spoke of, it is simply torment for me. Victoria's return is destined to bring me trouble. I didn't expect that her revenge came so quickly. Before going to bed at night, I received a video. The video shows Alexander and his friends drinking. A friend asked, Alexander, are you really planning to marry Olivia? How did the Anderson family become so bad, even a small scandal can't be suppressed? Alexander was shaking his wine glass, said with a light laugh. How? Do you want to give the Anderson family's abilities a try? The man quickly waved his hand. I don't dare, don't dare. Another person added, do you know what day it will be in 3 days? It is April Fool's Day. The next day was still Sister Victoria's birthday. What would happen at that time goes without saying. Alexander, you are not toying with Olivia, are you? Then the next day, go and propose to Sister Victoria. Alexander smiled slightly. Didn't she want a fake wedding? I can just meet her needs. Everyone is laughing happily. Many people have given Alexander a thumbs up. Alexander, really impressive. I can't wait to see Olivia make a fool of herself. I held my phone tightly, tried to avoid crying, but the tears quietly flowed the whole night. I am just a clown now, specifically designed to make people happy. Wait until dawn. I finally sorted out my thoughts. The first thing to do is to send a message to Alexander. The wedding in 3 days. I am willing to participate. However, I have a condition. I don't want to be the Anderson family's babysitter. I want to pick up the brush and get to work. A few minutes later, Alexander replied, the wedding dress will be delivered at that time. I can imagine the contemptuous look on his face when he sees me compromise. However, it no longer matters to me how he sees me. I got up to pack my luggage, just walked into the living room. A picture frame fell from the second floor, landed at my feet. If I take another step forward, it will definitely be hit very hard by it. I raised my head in fear. I happened to see those indifferent eyes. Burn all the paintings in her study. These things are not worthy of occupying space in the Anderson family's area. Olivia, I warn you not to be so conceited. If you dare to show up at the wedding in 2 days, I will not let you off the hook easily. My mother, only Victoria. He finished saying this sentence. He left maturely with his hands behind his back. Observe his physique and personality. It's simply exactly like Alexander. I slowly squatted down, carefully picked up the painting from the shattered glass, gently stroking the dry, distorted painting. I couldn't help but sigh. Ethan when he was a child. I feel very bored in this house. The only way to vent is by drawing. He saw me painting, has always wanted to learn from me. This painting was made by him and me when he was 5 years old. There is also his fingerprint in the bottom right corner. Although this is not my most satisfying work, but it is what I like and cherish the most. The butler also knows the story behind this painting. There was a reluctance in my heart to speak up. Olivia, if you want to keep this painting, I can pretend I didn't see it. I smiled. He stood up. Ethan no longer needs me to take care of him, although Victoria had only taken care of him for a few days. But he is, after all, her biological son. She has an inherent close relationship with her. They are right. They are truly a family. I lived with the Anderson family for a few years. She actually thinks she is the mistress. There is a significant gap between us. I clenched my teeth and felt an overwhelming sense of disgust. How could I possibly forget? I turned around and left. No need. Then let's do it as he said, burn it down. This is the day before the wedding. The wedding dress prepared by Alexander arrived with Victoria. Ethan was the first to rush forward, tightly embraced her waist. Mom, Victoria smiled, gently stroked his head. Have you been eating well at home these days? Ethan said happily like a child. The meal made by Mom. I have eaten it all. Really good. I have no interest at all in the close relationship between them. Mother and child, so I waved my hand to the butler. Let him put away the wedding dress first. I didn't expect that. Ethan suddenly pushed me, looked at me angrily. Speak directly. I will absolutely not allow you to marry into the Anderson family. The head of the Anderson family can only be my mother. Victoria pretended to be angry and criticized him. Ethan, be polite to elders. You know, Ethan lowered his head. It looks quite wronged. Ethan is still a child, lacking understanding. You don't need to pay too much attention to it. Although Victoria said so, but his face was filled with sarcasm and triumph. She patted Ethan on the shoulder. He gestured that the people in the living room could leave now. You can rest assured. I'm not afraid of you marrying Alexander. She sat gracefully on the sofa, savoring the tea slowly. I let out a cold laugh. It's time. Stop pretending to be generous. Victoria fiddled with the tea lid. Look up at me. The video from the night before last. It was sent to me by you. Wasn't it? Victoria smiled, even more obvious. You are really smart. Then you should know what I want to do. She put down the teacup, started to play with their nails. I suddenly feel the entertainment industry isn't very interesting either. The Anderson family is now stable. Ethan has also reached maturity. I want to return to my family. Experience the life of Mrs. Anderson from the Anderson family. I frowned. You are Alexander's fiancé. If you have an idea, just say it directly. Both father and son have her in their hearts. I really hope she can come back. Why are you putting me in such a difficult position? Victoria couldn't help but laugh. Olivia, don't think I don't know about your little tricks. If I said something first. Later, the father and son both regretted it. You might feel that it was me who drove you away. What I want, it is your own choice to leave. It is you who actively gave them up. I answered without hesitation. Okay, then let's do it your way. The wedding tomorrow. I will not go. Victoria smiled faintly. You are considered wise. Evening. Victoria is getting ready to leave. Ethan held her waist tightly, unwilling to let go. I don't want Mom to leave. I want to sleep with my mom and dad. Alexander said softly. Good. Listen. Victoria also squatted down, patiently comforted him. Ethan, obey. We can meet again tomorrow. Ethan started to cry softly. Mom is lying. Mom is always busy with work. It will definitely be gone again tomorrow morning. Seeing Ethan so sad, Alexander's brow was clearly furrowed. Add another set of bowls and chopsticks. You can stay here tonight. Seeing Ethan's happy expression, I can't help but think back to when he first moved in here, because he is not used to unfamiliar beds, crying incessantly. Only I took a taxi in the middle of the night to tell him stories. He is willing to sleep only then. In fact, what he needed from beginning to end was just his mother, instead of me. I was stunned for quite a while. At that moment, a bowl hit the ground right beside my foot. Ethan stared with wide eyes in anger. My mom loses her appetite when she sees you. You get out of here now. Alexander signaled to the servant with his eyes to take my things away. You are staying at the hotel tonight. Remember to attend the wedding on time tomorrow. I know. They were both concerned that Victoria would mind. However, I no longer feel sad. I nodded. Follow the butler to get ready to leave. But Ethan suddenly pulled out a pair of scissors. He suddenly rushed towards me. The action is too fast. The people on the scene were caught off guard. The steward went up to try to stop him. The scissors have already pierced my arm. Ethan. Alexander stood up. He scolded in a low voice. Ethan seemed to be scared by his own impulsiveness. He released his hand. Stand there in a daze. Her face was filled with panic. I didn't mean to do it this way. I just don't want you to take the wedding dress. I do not want it. He shook his head continuously, stammering to explain. Alexander stood up. He gestured for the servant to bring the medical kit. Ethan, hurry up and apologize. Alexander said angrily. My arms and skirt are covered in blood. Ethan instinctively apologized. I'm sorry. But immediately they stiffened their resolve and responded. If you hadn't taken the wedding dress, I won't hurt you either. I close my eyes. I am completely disappointed in him. Ethan gradually calmed down under Victoria's gentle comfort. I covered the wound on my arm. Slowly raise your head. There was indifference in their eyes. I didn't say anything further. I refused their offer to bandage me. Step by step, I walked out of this place that had imprisoned me for 10 years. The living room of the Anderson family to the door. The ground is covered with my blood. When leaving, Alexander frowned and reminded me, tomorrow's wedding. Don't be late, in their view. It seems that they never noticed I was hurt, even if there is guilt in the heart. Also thought I wouldn't leave, but this time, I have finally decided to free myself. That night, I called a car to the cemetery, say goodbye to my parents. The next morning, I took a flight to San Francisco. Since then, I have no contact with the Anderson family anymore. In the past 10 years, I only have several tens of thousands of yuan in savings. Therefore, I just arrived in San Francisco not long ago. I started looking for a job. Fortunately, I am not burdened with additional debt. Therefore, there is not much pressure when looking for a job. As long as it covers my daily expenses, that's fine. I rented a house that I like, working in a children's art interest class. The salary is not high, but it's enough for me to get by. Before coming to San Francisco, I have changed all my contact information. How to conclude a wedding on April Fool's Day. The Anderson family father and son will have what reaction upon discovering that I have not kept my promise. I no longer care about these things. Day by day, I gradually forgot about the events that took place in the Anderson family. It has gradually improved. The work in the art class is not hard. During leisure time at work, the place I spend the most time is outside the ballet studio on the second floor. If it weren't for what happened 10 years ago, I should dance like them now. It's a pity. Over the past decade, I have never worn ballet shoes again. No matter how great the talent, it may ultimately disappear. I watched their dance as usual, prepare to pack and go home. However, when I reached the hallway, I saw 4 tall girls push a small girl to the ground. The petite girl tried to stand up several times, but the number of people is too small. In the end, I could only sit on the ground. I immediately understood what had happened. What are you doing? When the leading girl raised her hand, I shouted to stop her. A few of them turned to me as if wanting to say something, but when I took out my phone to prepare to record a video, a panicked expression appeared on their face. Several people exchanged glances at each other, although feeling frustrated, but still unwillingly left along the staircase. Are you doing okay? I stepped forward, helped the little girl up, checked it. It was found that she had no obvious injuries. Only then did I let out a sigh of relief. The little girl looks a bit scared, but still, they were very cooperative with my examination. She shook her head and said, I'm fine, thank you. At this moment, I finally realized. This little girl is the youngest in the dance class, the one who jumps the best. I noticed her a long time ago. I didn't expect to be bullied by classmates in the interest class. Where are your parents? I am very angry. Decide to tell the truth to the parents. The little girl was still shivering a bit before she answered. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through. Immediately after, a person ran over. The little girl was hugged. Emily, are you all right? The person who came was Emily's brother, Lucas. When he heard me mention that Emily might be bullied by her classmates, he immediately called the teacher, asked them for an explanation after dealing with these matters. He smiled at me and said, "Thank you. Thanks to you. Otherwise, I might still be unaware that Emily is suffering injustice." I learned that from him. Emily's personality is a bit introverted. Usually, I can only engage in simple communication with others in order to help her improve her character. Lucas signed her up for an interest class. I hope she can interact more with her peers. I didn't expect that it would have the opposite effect now. Although it is for me, this is just a trivial matter. Lucas insisted on treating me to a meal. To express his gratitude, Emily walked beside him. The eyes are bright, seemed very expectant. I ultimately did not decline. During the conversation, Lucas learned that I am the art teacher downstairs. Seemed very surprised. He said, "I don't think you are unsuitable to be an art teacher. You give people the impression more like a ballet teacher." Upon hearing this sentence, I suddenly understood. I couldn't help but feel a sense of regret in my heart. I really feel a bit uncomfortable. Lucas saw the change in my expression, also instantly became tense, the look of regret on his face when he realized he had spoken incorrectly. Instead, it made me feel a bit funny. I thought for a moment. Anyway, everyone is not familiar with each other. I drank alcohol for the first time. Finally, I expressed all the dissatisfaction that had been suppressed for 10 years. Just when confiding, I did not mention the Anderson family. Lucas has a straightforward personality. The emotions on the face are completely unconcealed. When he heard about my experience, even angrier than I am, "Even if your father did something wrong, that must be determined by the law. What right do they have to restrict your freedom?" Although this has been said, but anger is of no use. His brows were tightly knit. It seemed like they were thinking about how to comfort me. "You must be very disappointed. I am not familiar with you. I also feel sorrow for you." I smiled. "I can say it this way. It indicates that I have already let it go. Thank you for the dinner. I am carrying a bag." Somewhat unsteadily returned to the rental apartment. Woke up the next day. I just realized how crazy my actions last night were. Regretting, packing things up to get ready for work. As a result, when the door was opened, I ran into Lucas at the door. We were both stunned. He feels a bit awkward, twisting her own curly hair with her fingers. "I did not track you." "No, I am tracking you. I was worried that you might encounter danger after getting drunk last night." I suddenly understood. Anyway, his intentions were good. I just persuaded myself to get ready not to see him again. Suddenly encountering it now. Feel a bit uncomfortable. Lucas's car is parked downstairs. Emily is still in the car having breakfast. Seeing this scene, I have some doubts. Lucas explained it a little. "I originally planned to hire a tutor for Emily, but she seems to prefer you more, so I enrolled her in your interest class. You wouldn't mind, would you?" I immediately shook my head. "I am just an ordinary teacher." Lucas smiled so widely that his eyes squinted into slits. "Then I'll give you a ride to work from now on. It's just on the way." I hesitated for a while. He had already opened the passenger door. "Send me up." It is strange that these seemingly limitless behaviors actually make me feel very comfortable. Lucas is like a little sun, slowly melting away the cold that I have accumulated over the past decade. That's it. We gradually became familiar with each other. Lucas and Emily are the first friends I made in San Francisco. I am no longer like a drifting duckweed without support. However, the ordinary happy life I thought I had didn't last long. Two unexpected guests arrived at the doorstep, Alexander and Ethan, one big and one small, standing in front of my house. When they saw Lucas and me coming back, immediately appeared somewhat alert. "Lucas is carrying the groceries we bought at the market this afternoon." Upon seeing this scene, I couldn't help but clench my fists. When he looked at me with a questioning gaze, Alexander has stepped forward. "Olivia, aren't you going to introduce me?" His expression was full of doubt. The Anderson family has a strong influence in the local area. I'm not surprised that he managed to find this place. Alexander appeared much earlier than I had expected. I took the dish from Lucas's hands. "Tell him, sorry, I might not be able to do what I said earlier tonight. Lucas probably knows their identities." Said with some concern. "It's okay. However, are you okay on your own? I don't want him to get involved in this matter as well." Can barely squeeze out a smile. "It's nothing. See you tomorrow." Lucas took Emily downstairs. I looked back a few times as I left, wait for his figure to disappear at the stairway. Alexander suddenly rushed over, pushed me against the wall. My chin hurts from being squeezed. He gritted his teeth. The tone is very angry. Olivia, how long has it been since leaving the Anderson family? You are so eager to get something. I furrowed my brows, striving to push him away. What are you doing? But Alexander is like a wall. Not a single move. Alexander, you really shouldn't do it in front of you and Victoria's son. Get involved with other women. I just finished speaking. Alexander let go of me. Ethan's eyes were also glimmering with a reddish light, staring at me angrily. Their performance was truly strange. It stands to reason. The wedding on April Fool's Day was meant to be a day for their family of 3 to reunite. What does it really mean to come to me now? Look at their appearance. It feels like being abandoned. Alexander seems to have come to the same conclusion as I did, whispered, "Why didn't you attend the wedding?" I couldn't help but laugh. Alexander, you really want to marry me? Still want me to embarrass myself in front of everyone? Do you want to make your fiancée Victoria happy? The expressions on Alexander and Ethan's faces changed instantly. A flicker of panic flashed in her eyes, although I know their plan. However, after personally verifying this time, it feels especially different. My heart still can't help but feel a little pain. Olivia, who did you hear these words from? Alexander pressed his lips together. Still unwilling to give up, they explained. I told you a long time ago, Victoria wants to develop her career. The position of the Anderson family lady is now temporarily yours. Do you know how much face the Anderson family lost after you ran away from the wedding? Almost all of my friends came to celebrate my wedding, but my bride is missing. Seeing Alexander looking sad again, I couldn't help but think, this man is truly a talented performer. Alexander, don't treat everyone as fools. We have always been seeking redemption. I no longer owe you anything. Can you let me off this time? Alexander clenched his fists, trying to find some joking expression on my face, but he did not succeed. Olivia, this is a matter between you and Victoria. We have been together for 10 years in my heart. We have been married for a long time. I understand. Some things have let you down. However, we still have a future. I originally planned to do it after the wedding. Let me formally introduce you to everyone. Seeing that I had no response, he began to touch me with his emotions. Olivia, are you really this heartless? Ethan is the child you worked so hard to give birth to. Can you bear to abandon your son, whom you have raised for 10 years like this? Alexander gently nudged Ethan's shoulder. He understood. She rushed over and hugged me while crying. Mom, could you not abandon Ethan? Ethan's tears fell on the back of my hand. Warm, it surprised me a bit. I instinctively pushed him away. I am not your mom. I drifted through 10 years in a daze. Now I finally understand. I have nothing to do with the Anderson family. Ethan always carries Victoria's blood within him. I am just a tool for having children. In the Anderson family, I was so naive. I thought he would be my biological son. I pushed Ethan to the ground. He looked at me with surprise and sadness. Alexander was also startled by my reaction, quickly helped his son up. He began to criticize me unconsciously again. Olivia, how did you become like this soon? He realized something, the eyes narrowed. Just for that kid who hasn't fully grown hair yet, you no longer recognize your own son. I don't care about the belittling of Alexander, but Lucas is my only friend. Don't talk. By the time I reacted, I have slapped Alexander. He turned his face. A blurred handprint appeared on his face. There was no expression on Alexander's face. I know this indicates that he might get angry. At this moment, I was a bit taken aback. The thought of the possible ways Alexander might seek revenge on me flashed through my mind. Alexander's tall figure completely blocked my view. He grabbed the hand I had just used to hit him. I was trembling all over with tension, reluctantly closed my eyes, waiting for his punishment. However, the anticipated pain did not occur. Alexander gently rubbed my palm with his thumb. Olivia, are you still angry? If I am still angry, it won't be here anymore. He spoke while doing something else. He pulled my hand to his face. I opened my eyes wide in surprise. It turned out that he was not joking, let out a sigh of relief. But at the same time, I felt an overwhelming sense of nervousness. I'm not sure what exactly happened between him and Victoria, but it seems now, he is clearly interested in me. Alexander saw that I did not respond. A faint smile appeared at the corner of the mouth. Olivia, I knew deep down you still can't let go. He reached out and gently touched my chin, which he had just pinched and turned red. I know it was Victoria who made you leave. I have already sent her abroad. Come back to the Anderson family with me. Let's not mention the previous matters, the matter between you and him. I don't want to pursue it any further. I turned my face sideways. This is impossible. Alexander, we can never be together. Please do not disturb me. I saw Alexander clench his fists tightly, suppressing the anger. I know you have many ways to keep me in the Anderson family. If you can even accept the corpse, then just go ahead. I don't have anyone I care about anymore. I closed my eyes. Let him handle it. Ethan stood in front of me crying. Dad, do not hurt Mom. Olivia, what do you take me for? Alexander gently patted Ethan's head, said with a cold smile, I know that the past has caused you a lot of pain. I suddenly appear now. You may need time to change your mind. It's okay. Ethan and I will use time and sincerity to prove our feelings. He took a few steps forward, gave me some space at the doorway. I will make you understand. The Anderson family is your best choice. However, during this period, I hope you can also pay attention to your words and actions. Don't associate with some unserious people. Otherwise, I will really be very angry. Alexander took Ethan away, but I was anxious all night. Can't sleep at all. A life that has just begun to improve. I feel like I'm once again overshadowed by the power of the Anderson family. The next day, I still prepared for work as usual. As soon as the door opened, they were startled by the 4 people at the door. Alexander and Lucas are actually fighting. Stop. I originally intended to make them stop. Only Lucas heard the sound. He turned around to look at me. Unexpectedly, Alexander's punch landed squarely on his face. Hiss. Lucas covered his face. Sucked in a breath of cold air. Alexander saw me too. Excitedly walked over with Ethan, but I simply have no time to deal with them. Hurry up and run over to check on Lucas's injuries. How is it? Are you still doing well? Lucas's face was covered in bruises. It evokes feelings of heartache and anger no matter how one looks at it. I'm fine, sister. He was clearly injured, but still, she tried hard to smile at me. I feel angry. Just as Alexander was about to grab my arm, I pushed him away forcefully. You are not welcome, said. I no longer care how disappointed they are. Went downstairs with Lucas and Emily. I just didn't notice. As Lucas went downstairs, he smiled smugly behind him. After getting in the car, I helped Lucas treat his wound to express regret. I promised to cook for him at home after work today. Let him taste my skills. I didn't expect that when I took Emily to the classroom. I found that Ethan was also inside. He was sitting up straight. He is holding the paintbrushes I bought for him. Tell me, Mom, you haven't painted with me for a long time. His obedient appearance makes me feel a bit uneasy. Wasn't it you who burned my painting back then? Upon hearing these words, Ethan's face turned pale all of a sudden, lowered my head in shame. I'm sorry, Mom. I closed my eyes and said, I am not your mom. Call me Teacher Olivia. Ethan held the paintbrush. My fingers are almost turning white. Answered while suppressing the tears. Good. I know Alexander wants to use Ethan to make me soften my heart, but I have been disappointed in him for a long time. This approach only makes me feel more disgusted. There is no benefit. After class, Lucas picked me up as usual. We buy vegetables at the market downstairs in our community, then go home together. Ethan is also carrying a backpack by himself. Follow us. When closing the door, he looked at me. There was a longing in the gaze. Mom, Ethan would really like to have the fish soup you made. He pouted. Victoria cannot cook at all. The meals she brings me are all bought from outside. I saw that you were enjoying your meal at that time. Finished speaking, I slammed the door shut. Ethan cried outside the door for a long time, until we finish eating. He was taken away by the bodyguard. Emily is watching TV in the living room. Lucas lazily washed the dishes in the kitchen. It started with the Anderson family father and son coming to see me. He hasn't asked me a single question. I have to say, this sense of distance makes me feel much better. This period of time, I have indeed learned some things that happened after I left. Originally, Alexander planned to set me aside at the wedding, propose to Victoria, but I don't know what's going on. He has been waiting for me at the wedding all along. At the beginning, he just thought I might not have come because I was angry. He has been messaging me, thinking that this would make me change my mind. However, a month has passed, 2 months have passed, I still haven't replied. Alexander finally panicked. I quickly found my residence. Ethan came along too. Rumors are spreading throughout the city. Alexander abandoned his star fiancé, fell in love with an ordinary person. This time, he seems to be seriously considering it. I turned on the old phone. Many of Alexander's friends have sent me messages of apology. Many of them are also urging me to reconsider. After all, Alexander rarely takes relationships seriously. Seeing this information, I can only find it quite ironic. The feelings of the favored ones are just feelings. Ordinary people are the same, right? Even if he is speaking very seriously this time, I also do not want to gamble with my future. I still plan to live my life in my own way. The next day, Lucas picked me up for work as usual. As a result, Alexander strode over angrily. Olivia, Ethan came back from your place yesterday and developed a high fever. How could you bear to keep him waiting downstairs for so long? Are you still fit to be a mother? I ignored her. He directly opened the passenger door and sat down. I am really not his mother. However, you need to know, he really is your biological son. Finished speaking, I didn't pay any attention to Alexander's dark expression. Just drove away. Lucas is in a good mood, driving a car. The corners of his mouth curled into a smile. The gaze, however, appeared somewhat cold. He noticed that I was looking over, intentionally raised an eyebrow. Sister, they are really annoying. I didn't expect that, Lucas casually complained. In the following half-month, Alexander no longer appeared by my side. I am a little curious, but reason tells me it's better not to ask too much, because Lucas's identity is not as simple as I thought. He can help me solve the problem. It is always beneficial for me. I didn't expect that. The rumors about Victoria quickly spread throughout the city. A famous actress is rumored to have had affairs with several directors. Inappropriate photos were also exposed. In private, she was even involved in some prohibited drugs and illegal transactions. Such news has continuously topped the headlines for several days. It is evident the person behind this wants to completely destroy her. However, Victoria has had the support of the Anderson family over the years. Is Alexander doing something? I haven't realized it yet. Thunder sounded outside the window. I got up to close the window. I saw two figures downstairs in the community. One big and one small. That is Alexander and Ethan. Very obvious. Passers-by frequently turned their heads back. There were also kind-hearted passers-by who wanted to persuade them to leave. But they all did not listen. I held my mouth tightly shut. I don't know what they want to do at that moment. I received an anonymous email on my phone. Open it and take a look. There is only one video inside. While the video is buffering, I walked downstairs while holding an umbrella, although I don't understand their intentions. But it has started to drizzle outside. I don't want this father and son to show up at my doorstep. Just as I got off the elevator, the video has just finished loading. I originally planned to watch it later, but the sound coming from the phone made me stop immediately. I feel something is not right all over. Victoria, have a baby. Is it necessary to make such a big fuss? I still did it to keep Alexander, although we are not yet married, but I can feel that he is not interested in me. Even if it means pretending to have an accident to gain sympathy, make him feel guilty. What does it matter to become Mrs. Anderson? Victoria's mother frowned. You shouldn't bribe the doctor either. Let that driver lose his life. He had a chance of surviving after the rescue. Can you not be too soft-hearted? What if he notices something is wrong? Then everything I did before was in vain. When doing things, one should be more decisive. Victoria is wearing a hospital gown, lying on the hospital bed. The gaze is very resolute. Who made Alexander's heart favor Olivia? Who made her so popular in school? I am nothing compared to her. Since you choose to be so flashy, then one must be prepared for retaliation. I feel as if I've been struck by lightning. The phone fell to the ground. Victoria's words continued, but I couldn't take it in at all. What happened 10 years ago was not a coincidence. Dad did not drive after drinking. He is innocent. It was a trap set by Victoria. She went to great lengths to set up this trap, ruined my home and dreams. It was just because she was dissatisfied with me. And I was foolish enough to give birth to a child for the person who killed my father. I also worked as a nanny for 10 years. I was trembling all over. Alexander and Ethan saw me at some point without my knowledge, hastily ran over. However, audio that repeats on the phone make their faces look very bad. Olivia, listen to me. Alexander appeared so flustered for the first time. He wanted to reach out and help me wipe away my tears, but I forcefully pushed him away. It is thundering and raining in the sky. The rain falls on my face like tiny beans. My vision became blurred. Can't tell if it's rain or tears. Get lost. I shouted at him. Tears welled up in Alexander and Ethan's eyes. It looks very painful. He shook his head and said, I'm sorry, I really don't know. I'm sorry, Olivia. I have already taken revenge on her for that. Please give me a chance. Okay, if possible. I really want to end their affairs with my own hands. However, when faced with a background like Alexander's, I feel very hopeless in an emotional outburst. I felt a wave of dizziness, almost fell. Alexander reached out to help me, but I have already fallen into Lucas's embrace first. At this moment, Lucas was no longer that carefree person. There was a cold light in the eyes. no less remarkable than Alexander. You don't deserve to lay a finger on her. Finished speaking, Lucas took me upstairs. The sound of Alexander kneeling heavily behind me was heard. Olivia, I will always kneel, until you forgive me. I did not turn back. Alexander also did not kneel the entire night. The rain is getting heavier. Alexander kneeling downstairs made headlines, but the Anderson family quickly suppressed the news. Immediately send someone to forcibly bring him back with Ethan. When I wake up, Lucas and Emily are beside me. Before he could say anything, I just asked, "That email was sent by you, right?" Lucas's expression became serious. Gently put down the warming soup. Will you blame me? If you have always been unaware of these things, you will not feel pain. I shook my head. Thank you. Some things would rather endure pain. Always remember. I don't blame you. Lucas asked softly. I have the ability to make their family go bankrupt. Do you want to give it a try? A glimmer of determination flashed in my eyes. Really, from the moment I understood the truth, my heart never found peace. The only way to take revenge that I can think of. It resulted in mutual damage between Alexander and Victoria, but if I let him participate, I worry that it will cause him trouble. Just as I was hesitating, Lucas held my hand. He slowly opened each of the fingers I was holding. I am a member of the Thompson family. I furrowed my brow. Not quite clear. He continued saying, the Thompson family from San Francisco. It's not an ordinary family. I suddenly understood. San Francisco's most low-key, long-standing family. Although it is not commonly seen now, but their power is quite significant. What are those conditions? I am not a fool. I understand Lucas's feelings for me. However, if revenge could be taken right now, what does it matter to make some compromises? But Lucas just shook his head gently. This is what I am willing to do. If conditions really need to be set, I hope you are always happy. I held Lucas's hand. Tears were somewhat moist. Okay, 1 month later, the Anderson family is in chaos. There is a problem with the funds. Moment. The Anderson family has fallen. Everyone has left. Victoria's reputation has been affected. 10 years of effort have gone to waste. The latest news report shows the bodies of Alexander and Victoria were found in an abandoned residential building. They had disagreements while they were alive. Grandpa has passed away. The Anderson family is left with only Ethan. Ultimately, he was adopted by the city's welfare institution. Since then, I have never lived a luxurious life again. I have finally started a quiet and undisturbed new life in San Francisco. I am also accompanied by Emily and Lucas.